when I was thinking about the topic of burned, I thought about my skin, to be honest. I'm half black, and yet I burn. Right? My skin has always been kind of a thing for me. It's been like a sore spot. Being so light-skinned has gotten me into some interesting situations. Sometimes I feel like I'm a spy. I'm like, I caught you saying something racially. Little did you know I'm black and here's my cape. But I wasn't always like that. I didn't know that I had this superpower until I was around, I think I was 6 or 7 years old. And in a biracial family like mine, you don't really go to a lot of people's houses. You don't spend the night. People have to be vetted. This is kind of a situation. You just don't. So this one particular time I went to a birthday party, and my dad, who usually wasn't the guy that dropped me off because he was always busy working, actually dropped me off this day. And I don't remember actually seeing a reaction from the family, but I guess there must have been, but my dad didn't quite get it, so he dropped me off, and of course he's like, I'll be back in an hour and a half because we're not doing this, you know? And I was like, okay, and then so I go in, I don't think I even noticed the memorabilia around the house. I don't think I remembered any of that, actually, because what would I have known? I didn't know. But I did remember that I wasn't allowed to eat cake. And this is such a big deal to me because I think it establishes the fact that I now cannot, cake is my obsession. I think it stems from there. The fact that I was denied cake, now I'm like, if I'm at an event, where's the cake? And I better get a cake, piece of cake right, stick. But I didn't get cake, I didn't get to play with the other kids, they kind of had me sit down in a corner for about an hour and a half, and I don't think I even got it then, because I didn't really know. To my norm was, everybody's father and mom look like a bazillion different things. I have a Japanese uncle, I have a Colombian uncle, my father's black, that is normal. There's nothing that's abnormal to me. So when my father and mother picked me up, I think they had some words, I think I was whatever, and I don't think I realized about racism until the next school day. The birthday girl and her sister cornered me after school, and they pushed me up against a gate, and they were like, "You're dark meat," and I was like, I don't even understand what that means. I kept thinking, am I a chicken nugget? What is happening? I don't know. And then they laid it on me. They said the N-word, right? And I still didn't get it, because guess what? I was called the N-word all the time at my house. I thought it was a term of endearment. I was like, my dad says this to me all the time. We used to make up a song called Wake Up Little N-words. That's how we woke up. So I didn't know that it was a bad word. And then my sister who was picking me up from school, literally was like, get away from my sister. And then we went into the car, and I was telling her, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what happened. They called me this, they called me dark meat, and they called me the N-word, and my sister's like, what? And I was like, yeah, they called me the N-word, and she goes, you better tell Papa. And I was like, oh, okay. So I go home, and I was like, Papa, apparently I'm supposed to tell you that these kids called me the N-word, and he goes, you never, ever let anybody call you the N-word. I'm like, you call me it all the time. He goes, yeah, but when I say it, I'm taking it back. You're taking it in your power. And I was like, my power? I don't even understand. And he goes, when they're saying it in a negative way. When I say it, I'm giving it power and giving it energy and giving it a new life. And I was like, I am 6? I have no idea. He goes, basically, if they look like they're white, they can't say it to you. And I was like, you need to explain. And then he explained the N-word, and he explained the dynamics of race, and my family had this big talk because we hadn't really had that talk until then. I mean, even when we would go into rooms, I remember people would stare at us and my mom would just be like, it's just because we're a really good looking family. So it was almost like this thing of attractive power, you know? And it wasn't until this point that I realized that people could hate me and that I had this thing. And I also was like, so why didn't people know this about me, right? Because there was other biracial kids in my class. There was other biracial kids that weren't at that party. They weren't invited to that party. And I realized because I was born so light-skinned, and that it's going to be something that I have to talk about or have to share to protect myself. And it was a pretty jarring thing. And now I say it in jest, and I go to rooms and I'm like, hey, just so you know, I'm biracial. Or sometimes I sneak in and I give the deets, and then I go, ha, I'm biracial. I wear it proudly, I speak of it proudly, but I thought this was such an important story to tell because I know I'm not the only light-skinned biracial girl that has gone through this. And I know that I'm proud of both my parents, and I want to represent both my parents. And I want to be proud of my skin, even though it burns and that's gross. So I really think that was a turning point, and I really think it's an important story to say, to be proud of who you are, even if you're not the right shade of mixed. Thank you.